Have you ever been fired or resigned and discovered later that this is the best thing that ever happened in your life? This is anti-fragility. You face a downturn and this makes you stronger. How is this concept applicable to companies and so critical to supply chain management? And welcome to this Pecha Kucha presentation. Nasism Taleb proposes to classify systems in three categories: fragile, robust, and anti-fragile. Complex systems are fragile and therefore disproportionately affected by events, while anti-fragile systems will get more robust, it will absorb shock and get stronger. Taleb is also known for the black swan concept. Black swan events are hard to predict, have high consequences, but are retrospectively predictable. For example, the Japan tsunami and the subsequent Fukushima accident. Once we recognize unpredictability exists, the next question is how to deal with it. Anti-fragility is beyond resilience or robustness. Resilient systems will resist shocks and stay the same, while anti-fragile systems will get better with every shock. This is very similar to viruses resisting antibiotics, and startups tend to fall in the anti-fragile category. How to make your organization anti-fragile? Very similar to the lean startup concept, you will seek to face your black swans as early as possible, but with small systems. You will iterate often, release early, build on your skills, and pivot when needed. You got the idea? But why do we have fragility in the first place? Taleb puts it on the way competition is designed. Cost-based competition leads to extreme management of resources and low redundancy. Economies of scale increase complexity to the detriment of transparency and observability. This results in organizations that are very lean but fragile. Then the social element comes in. Customers and citizens start wondering about health issues, environmental and social sustainability. How can large corporations be transparent to their customers? This social loop increases external control on the operations and creates imbalances between challenges and competencies. The mismatch between challenge and competence will require to move out of the comfort zone. The best way then is to decompose the mismatch in small independent and redundant activities that will require innovation, new competencies, and new approaches. We are only interested in options with a low loss and a high potential value. Anti-fragility or death. Think how Volkswagen was unable to provide suitable product to the US market and had to cheat the test. This badly harmed the clean and environmentally conscious car manufacturer, and the fine is $15 billion. If Volkswagen learns, pivots and recovers, then it would demonstrate its anti-fragility. The world-leading wind turbine manufacturer got hit by a triple market recession happening simultaneously in Europe, USA and China. It recovered by changing the business model towards becoming a service company, competing on product efficiency rather than costs, and diversifying their global footprint. They are world leaders again. Toyota is known for having recovered very rapidly after the tsunami. Like Toyota, anti-fragile companies are problem-solving oriented, with creative and dedicated staff, a mix of Pokayoke, Muda and Kaizen, but they are avoiding the rigidity that Lean can create in order to embrace agility and innovation. Supply chains are complex, competitive environments. Interdependencies are numerous and the consequences of decisions are hard to predict. However, they constitute major competitive advantages of companies. And some even say that companies don't compete, but their supply chains do. If we say fragility increases with complexity, pressure on cost and loosened transparency, it then does apply to supply chain management. According to Douglas Lambert, SCM involves numerous complex and detailed management processes that are ranging from planning and control down to compatibility of working culture across the value chain. The literature lists dimensions that can define supply chain fragility. In this example, 14 dimensions are listed, with the purpose to quantify each single of them. Of course, the black swan in the corner is yet unknown, but do supply chains have to be fragile, or are there alternatives? The supply chains of the futures are seen as ecosystems of actors that create value through a mix of competition and collaboration. These are not chains anymore, but value web, where suppliers and collaborators constitute an ecosystem based on learning, agility, and renewal, involving small players. For example, Li and Fung. They probably manufacture most of your wardrobe. Li and Fung weighs $18 billion, 25,000 people in 300 locations. They operate a network of 15,000 suppliers. What do? They manage supply chains for global brands of consumer goods. Think of something and Li and Fung will make it for you. What makes them special? Well, they continuously look for new suppliers that they train to fulfill quality standards. They source raw materials for them, and they are suppliers of their suppliers. They also query quality insurance, production monitoring, and offer tailored services to their customers. This diversity should protect them from downturns. But even this giant is being challenged. New technologies allow customers and suppliers to connect directly, eating profit margins. Li and Fung has to constantly evolve in this new market environment and change its business model. Anti-fragility is not a recipe, it's part of the DNA of company cultures. Where's the swan? The supply chain giant relies on political stability, stable trade agreements, and navigation security. If tensions increase at borders or worse, it will affect trade agreements, custom rules, and safety of navigation rules. If you think anti-fragility, would you continue outsourcing most of your activities to Asia? By now, you understood anti-fragility is a powerful concept that applies equally to our daily lives as well as to global supply chains. You understood the complexity of global supply chains and their fragility. Together, we saw options and champions. Thank you very much for your attention and a very good day.